23 ways to hide from your friends and enemies in Minecraft. With just a composter and a trapdoor, you have an easy way to hide yourself. But unfortunately, just like this, it's not the most effective. You can see yourself popping out of the sides. But nothing to worry about, because if you place blocks on the other sides of the composter like so, we're actually able to hide the player model from clipping out. It just might require some fine tweaking so that you actually get the right rotation. Oh, and while this seems hidden enough, if there's one last thing you should remember, it's that you need to hold sneak even while you're in this cramped spot. Otherwise, your name tag's gonna show up on top. I guess crawling isn't the same as sneaking. Go figure. Perhaps the most classic way of keeping yourself hidden is to dig yourself down into a 3-block pit and then put the topmost block back into place when you're down there. After that, you know the rest of the story. You hold down the sneak key and you're about as good as hidden. That is until your friend decides to just do 1 block's worth of mining and your secret's revealed. So maybe it's worth sticking to one of the other entries on this list if you're looking for something a little bit more permanent. Camouflage skins are nothing new to Minecraft, but what we're camouflaging might be a new touch, since the particular choice here to use a deep slate camouflage skin can work really well with how dark it gets in the lower levels. And then from there, hitting the sneak key will make you even more invisible. And now the big problem you're gonna have to worry about is making yourself look too invisible that your friends think it's safe enough to use a tunnel bore. In that case, you might be better off safe rather than hidden. Without a doubt, the most effective way of hiding yourself is with an invisibility potion. I mean, the name kind of gives that away. But that doesn't mean that you shouldn't still avoid these dead giveaways, such as never holding an item in your hand while you're invisible, taking off all of your armor. And then, perhaps the biggest yet, is that you really gotta make sure that you're not moving around so much that the particles are getting dispersed everywhere. If you're playing on a server with a bunch of PvPers, then without a doubt the people on lifesteal know what to look for. So stay safe and stay hidden, even if you got this get out of jail free card. In this case, maybe you don't have to be the one that's hidden, but rather, you're going into a hidden spot. And an effective way of entering that secret area is to use something like chorus fruit. That way, the only possibility of your friend trying to track you in is if they themselves have this rare to hold item. And while it will admittedly take a few attempts to make sure that you teleport exactly where you want to go, for the ability to stay especially hidden, I think that's a minor cost to shoulder. And besides, if you want to increase your chances of teleporting in just right, then you could always just clear up the interior of the base, and then you'll have more blocks to actually teleport to. By linking nether portals in a specific way, we're able to make it so that we can give one portal 2 destinations depending on where you stand on it. And this is going to become a lot more obvious if we use something like a tall nether portal. Because here we could have it that if we stand at the top of the portal with a secret place, then that'll be the only way we teleport to our secret base. But if you go through it normally, you go to the standard location of a nether fortress. Besides, whoever wants to teleport through the top half of the portal anyway? If you design it right, they'll just think that you made a tall nether portal for show, and your secret's safe from there. From where we're standing, this base doesn't look that hidden. But from the ground level, these shulker boxes that we used as a floor actually start to disappear. And the reason is that block entities like shulker boxes and chests stop rendering when you're 64 blocks away. So if you put some of these up near the top of the sky, they'll only render if someone gets within range. So unless they got an elytra, and they're flying pretty high up, might I add, they'll be none the wiser that you're hiding out here. And hey, with all those shulker boxes, you got built-in storage too, so there's worse blocks that you could be stuck with. If you're looking to hide from friends and foes, then a pretty decent spot is going to the bottom of a lake or an ocean. But that does cause one issue. How do you not drown? Well, luckily, using something like a banner, we can give ourselves that air pocket to hang out underneath the ocean. And if you really wanted to be sneaky, you could take that composter and trapdoor from above ground and put them to even better use on top of the ocean floor. Granted, it's a little cramped in either example, but it's both safe and hidden. And as far as I'm concerned, that's what we're looking for. If we break 2 of the leaf blocks on this tree and then place a trapdoor like so, we can use that to crawl inside of the tree. And then, once we're inside of the tree's canopy, we can break that trapdoor and replace it with a leaf block. And then, partner with how busy the leaf texture is, especially if they're playing with low graphics settings, we can really disappear into this canopy. Or if you don't have a tree yet and still want to do this, then by placing a leaf block in a setup like this with a sapling underneath, you can bone meal the sapling, and as soon as it grows, you'll actually be hidden just where you want to be. And while birch is the easiest tree to pull this off with, you might want to try a few times to actually get a tall oak tree. They're rarer, but they're a lot easier to hide in. If you're trying to get out of dodge, then elytra and rockets can do that pretty well. But once you're up well past build limit, hiding from everyone else, how do you stay hidden and make sure that you don't just fall down to the earth? Well, if you took the time to brew up some slow falling potions down on the surface, then chugging a couple of those partnered with your elytra and slow your descent down to a crawl. And from there, we can leisurely enjoy our safety right up above the clouds. Just make sure to also get on breaking 3 on your elytra. Nothing's gonna ruin your disguise more than falling out of the sky and standing in front of your friend as a pile of items. I'll be honest, hiding a secret room behind a painting is old hat, and unfortunately, too many players know to check behind these things. But with just a few minor tweaks, we could still teach this old dog some new tricks. Like, for example, using things like trapdoors or slabs that you have to jump or maneuver your way in. Those can really impact the effectiveness of one of these designs. And that way, the only chance of someone getting through is if they know that it's there. And to be honest, if it's a secret, they shouldn't, so you should be fine. And if you want to get even more particular and a bit more cruel, you could set up another painting with a cactus behind it. That way, if they try to go through that one, they'll be deterred from trying trying to enter the other. Powdered snow isn't exactly a comfortable hiding spot. Well, the only thing that's keeping you from jumping face first into a pile of white powder is the law. No, is 4 leather and a crafting table. Since, strangely enough, all it takes is a pair of leather boots to make yourself completely immune to freezing, even when you're completely submerged in powdered snow. And you'll see as much if we sneak behind this armor stand. And then if you keep holding sneak, no one will be any the wiser that you're down there. Trapdoors are a common decoration block, which, lucky for us, means that there's plenty of these tiny crawl spaces that we can get into. Like, take this house for example. By flipping open some of the spruce trapdoors and the pillars, we can tuck ourselves away from any passerby, even if it's their house. Or if they happen to use trapdoors in their floor design, then even better, you can hide under that too. And even if your friend doesn't have trapdoors in their base, it would look better if they did. So I'm sure if you added some of these in to help them decorate, they'd be appreciative and none the wiser that you're actually using it as a new hiding spot. You might not see the secret entrance, but that's kind of the point. Since if you were to go find yourself a spot inside of a snowy area, dig down into a pit, and then place scaffolding back up to the surface, then even when we cover our tracks with a snow layer on top, we'll still be able to memorize where we go and sneak right into the location. But that's the key part, you gotta remember where you're hiding, because otherwise it might look a little weird if you just keep crouching in a pile of random snow. And the last thing you want is to draw any suspicious eyeballs to your new base. It's best to log the coordinates if you really need to. The trick to this secret entrance is that there isn't an entrance, but rather by aiming an ender pearl throw just the right way, we're able to teleport ourselves through a 1-block thick surface. And as you can see from the example, if we aim the ender pearl just right to where the wall meets the ground, then we can reliably clip through the wall and get over to our base. And while the ender pearl might hurt you a little bit to get inside, it's a lot better than having to stay out in the open to your enemies, so I'd rather take this damage than leave myself susceptible to more on the outside. If you only need to hide yourself for a few minutes, then it's hard to beat a lava pool. Since with a fire resistance potion and some redstone, we can buy ourselves some valuable time to hang out at the bottom of a lava lake. And there, even if anyone notices that you're down there, it's not like you'll be easy to get to. But I will warn obviously that if you try this, you might want to have a stopwatch next to you, or at the very least another potion so that you can re-up it. After all, the brewing stand makes 3 of them, so you could use all of that to get yourself 24 minutes at the bottom of a lava lake. And at that point, if they're still waiting up there to catch you, they deserve to. They clearly have patience. The only way to get to my secret base is to die. And no, it's not heaven, but the truth is that this base is only accessible through a respawn. That way, after stashing your stuff inside of an ender chest, we take care of ourselves, and through the help of a bed, respawn where we want to be. But then the question is, if you have to die to get in, how do you get out? Well, through the help of an ender pearl stasis chamber, we could set up an ender pearl just like this, and then when it's time to escape, press the button, and then reset up the system so that we can use it to get back out. And this might just be one of the most effective ways to hide yourself, because even if your friend knows how to get in, chances are they don't have their spawn set to your bed. So even if they off themselves to reach the other side, you can rest assured that that'll be on the other side of your base's walls. If you're trying to hide from your friends, then a silly way to do it might just be getting yourself a carved pumpkin. Now, not to say that your friends are endermen, but what you might see is that if we actually put on one of these and then crouch next to a pumpkin patch, without our name tag, we do tend to blend in with the other textures. Is it stupid? Of course, but if it works situationally, that's good enough for me. Because remember, it only has to work once for it to be worth it. And if everything goes wrong and they still catch you, you could always craft up yourself an iron golem. Lord knows you'll have the pumpkin. Sometimes the best way to hide from your friends is to hide in plain sight. And while a camouflage skin can do that, there's a way for us to camouflage in-game. And through the help of some very specific dyed leather armor and a mob head, we can sneak into a crowd of zombies and blend in quite perfectly. Besides, if your friend's trying to chase after you, the odds are they don't want to deal with zombies that they don't have to anyway. So if you get in with a crowd of them, you'll be safe. And better still is that by wearing a zombie head and having that potion of invisibility, even the zombies aren't going to attack you. So as far as they're concerned, you blend in with them too. If your friend's got another portal like this, then you're in luck, since all those extra decorations are going to offer us the perfect hiding space. And all we need to do to use this facade is to go through the nether portal and then come back, since when we return to the overworld, we're not just going to be teleported back to the other dimension. Granted, we are going to have this annoying warbly effect when we come back, but if we turn off distortion effects in the accessibility tab, then you do have the option to be just fine here. And as long as you don't leave the nether portal again, it won't be able to teleport you back. So if you want to trick them into thinking that you went to the nether, but leave them no clue as to where you went, I think this does the trick, and then some. Unlike in real life, in Minecraft, you're not safe under the covers. You're quite literally out in the open. But by opening up this trapdoor underneath my bed, that'll give us access to the secret minecart underneath. And then by having that minecart placed on top of an activator rail, we have a quick and easy way to get in and out of our secret base. And this works particularly well, especially because if you have a bed up top, it already looks like you have a base. And I doubt very many people are going to be checking underneath your beds for any kind of monsters. And then when you're ready to leave, use the same minecart and it'll shoot us right up top. In order to get to our secret base, you might want to turn on chunk borders, because when you're flying over the end void, it can be tough to tell which way you're flying, whether that's up or down, and you definitely don't want it to be down. But once we follow this lodestone compass, that'll take us right to our secret base, out in basically the middle of nowhere, because very rarely do people check between the main island and the outer islands of the end. Really, if you don't get there with a gateway or a portal, most people don't explore that part of the end, which means that if you have the time to set it up, this could be the perfect location for your hideout. Just make sure that you fully stock that hideout with plenty of rockets to get back with your elytra. Otherwise, you might be stuck in secrecy for quite a while, unless you want to take the short way out. This isn't an armor stand, or rather, it's me. Because by putting on the same set of armor and then drinking an invisibility potion, we can do something of a mannequin prank and hide in plain sight. And while this will definitely fool someone at a glance, key thing to note is that interestingly, the player's shorter than the armor stand, even if you equip with the same armor. So I definitely wouldn't want to hide next to other armor stands when you do this. Those static statues could be a dead giveaway. And if you're worried about the potion particles that are coming off of your body, then I mentioned that it helps to do one of these next to an area with beacon beams. Since then, the players are already used to potion particles coming off of themselves, it's not going to strike them as abnormal. And with that, folks, YouTube thinks that you might like this video, so see if they're right and have a good one, alright?